Hello everyone, I am so excited that you are here with me on my very first YouTube video. My name is Ashley Maxim. I am a stay-at-home mom of 3 and this is my inaugural YouTube video. So the first thing that I want you to do is hit that subscribe button so that you can follow along on this motherhood journey. Y'all know we need community, so go ahead and hit that subscribe button. So on this very first video, the first thing that I want us to tackle is the journey that it took for me to become a stay-at-home mom. And yes, I realize that this journey is not for everyone, but for some it is. And I want to talk a little bit about my journey of getting to this point of making the decision to be home full-time with my family. Pour your favorite cup of coffee, your favorite juice, whatever it is that you might want to sit and drink for a little while we chit chat. I just want to just be open and honest and transparent about this journey. It's a beautiful journey. It's a eye-opening journey. It's a sacrificial journey, but overall it is a good journey. First thing that I want to talk about is really why I even became a stay-at-home mom, like how I even had the thought of being a stay-at-home mom. So I am a stay-at-home mom of 3 little ones, ages 5, 4, and 2. Yes, I'm busy. But the idea of being a stay-at-home mom was really implanted in me from my mother. My mom was a teacher turned stay-at-home mom. And it was just so incredibly valuable to have my mother at home. There was so much safety and security knowing that someone was always home. There was always somebody that I could call. If we left homework at home, she'd come bring it. We left our lunch at home, she would come bring it. You know, when we got home, she had snacks and dinner ready. She was there to do homework with us, to take us to our practices and different extracurricular activities. And so it just was good. It was so nice. She set the tone for our home. She made our home comfortable, and she was able to do a lot of that because she made her primary responsibility the home. And so she taught me and my siblings, specifically my sisters, how to be mothers, how to be wives. And part of that was spending her time making our house a home. I'm grateful for that example. And like I mentioned before, I understand that that's not everybody's story and journey, but it was mine, and it's what really influenced me to really want to be a stay-at-home mom. I always knew that whenever I got married and started having kids, like the goal was stay-at-home mom. So in 2018, I got married at the end of 2018, and then had my first child at towards the end of 2019. And so the thought was there. I was a teacher at the time, a high school teacher, a certified athletic trainer as well. So I was well into my career by the time that I got married and started having children. And so had my first son in 2019. Again, the thought was constantly there, like, okay, can we do this? My husband was down, but we just didn't know how it was gonna work. So, you know, continued having children, had a miscarriage, and then had another baby, our daughter, our only girl, in 2021. And then again, the thought was continuous of, okay, can we do this? Are we going to do this? Is this really feasible, you know, for our family? How should we do this? If this is the leap of faith that we are going to take. So again, it was just a continuous thought. It was a continuous conversation at the end of each school year, a continuous conversation that we would my husband and I would have, and making sure that that was still something that we wanted to do for my family, our family. And so, the pandemic, of course, is going on. So I'm teaching from home, and that's a, really nice transition. And so I was like, okay, well, maybe I'll just teach from home. Maybe I'll just work from home, find a job online. There were a ton of them, especially at the time. But then I decided not to go that route and go back to the classroom once we were able to do that. So again, continued, the conversation. And then I had my third child. And this is where the conversation really got serious, y'all. So I had my third child. This is where we decided to really take the leap of faith. We had been talking about it. We had been praying about it, fasting about it, really considering, going from 2 incomes to 1 income, which is something I can talk about in another video if you guys want. About how we budgeted and prepared to go from 2 full incomes, y'all, to 1. We took that leap of faith. And so I had my third child. I was also having hip surgery the same year that we decided to become a single income family, and for me to come home full time and be the one to focus on our family and care for our family's needs. And so, faith, you guys, I mean, it was one of the most scary decisions to make and do, because this is not something that's just affecting me. This is affecting my husband because he will be the sole provider. This is affecting my children because now we again are going from a 2 income home to a single income home. And so there were sacrifices that were going to be made. But we believe that ultimately it would better our children, our family as a whole, to become a single income family and for me to become a stay-at-home mom. And so we really took that leap of faith. And we jumped in, we were all in, and I can actually really say that it was one of the hardest decisions to actually live out, because you have no idea what that decision is going to look like in real time. And so I want to talk a little bit about that. So we decide, that this is the route we're going to go. We jump in, both feet in, we're all in. So, like I said, the year that we decided, which is 2023, because we are now in 2 years of me being a stay-at-home mom. And so it was really hard. And so I would say it was hard, not just really financially, but even just me figuring out what is it that I do, right? So how do I manage my home? What does that look like on a day-to-day? I have a newborn at this point. I'm recovering from hip surgery. I am leaving a career that I've had for 9 years as a teacher. And where do I start? Where do I begin, right? So imagine walking into a career and you're like, whoa, this is not initially what I thought it would be, right? I thought this would be a little bit easier because, this is the way God was leading me. This is what I wanted. And so that first day, I would even say that first month, it was just like, okay, we need to put some systems in place, right? I can't do all the things on one day. I can't do laundry, cook dinner, keep the house clean, care for all the kids' needs, all at one time. How do I break up my day? How do I break up my week? What will my schedule look like? What would the kids' schedules look like? What do I need to say no to? What can I say yes to? Who do I put first? What do I put first? How do I take care of me, right? And so all these things started to come into play. And I had to start writing out what this looked like and talking to some people who have lived this life now for some years and what that looked like for them. So it really took me some time to find a rhythm of how our days, and that still changes, right? It changes with the seasons as my kids get older. it changed once I even made the decision to homeschool, because that was not always the plan either. So I'll talk about that too at another point. But I really had to figure out, what is my day-to-day going to look like, and how am I going to manage it? Because now that is my sole responsibility. Not meaning my husband's not going to have anything to do, with the home, but I came home so that I could be the one who is caring for the home. Now, ultimately, why did I make this decision, right? And I say, why did I make this decision? Because my husband really left it up to me, right? He was down either way, whether or not we wanted to stay a 2-income home or become a single income home, and me being the stay-at-home mom that I always desired to be. So he really left that decision, ultimate decision, up to me. And so why was it so important for me to be home with my children? One, I really wanted to be the one to raise my children. I really wanted to be the one to get to know my children. I really wanted to be the one to instill the core values that were important to me and my husband into my children, right? I did not want to send them to anyone else's care or put them in anyone else's care for 6 hours a day and not have the large influence in their life. And that was really important to me, that I be the one to do that for them. They're so little, they're soaking up so much, and all I continue to hear as a mom from older moms is how fast the time goes by. And I'm seeing that on a daily basis, right? As my kids mature and grow, this time is moving. And so I'm like, man, like, Lord, if this is your will, let it be done. I would like to be the one to raise my kids. And even with that, you guys, it being a, sincere desire, is still hard. The day-to-day is challenging, but I know that down the road that this still is the right decision. So for us, that was the number one reason, is I wanted to get to know my kids. I wanted to be the one to raise them. I wanted to be the one to instill the values and morals that we believe in them at a very early age, and to lay a foundation that no one else, I feel like, could lay for them. Another reason why I wanted to be a stay-at-home mom is because I wanted to be the one to educate my children on a day-to-day basis, and more so life skills. Like I said, homeschooling, the decision to be a homeschool mom came later, but the life skills, I wanted to be the one to do that. Teach them how to brush their teeth, make their bed, pour their cereal, wash the dishes, right? Take out the trash, whatever the case may be. Like, I wanted to do that, right? I wanted to know that they were learning it from me, and that they were learning it in the manner that I wanted them to learn me. And so that was important to me. Another reason that I wanted to be a stay-at-home mom is because I really valued my mom setting the tone and environment for our home. And that's my desire for our home, is that I set the environment and the tone for our home, right? Mom makes, the home. Dad, of course, is so important. I don't want to dump on dads at all, and I hope I'm not doing that. But moms are the ones to set the tone of the home, right? The environment of the home, right? To make it warm, to make it cozy, to make it loving and a soft place to be, right? Dad comes in and he just adds to it. And so I just wanted to make sure that I had the time available to do that for us. And that's still in the making, right? Like I said, we are always changing. Our home is always changing. The seasons in our lives are always changing. But it just was really important for me to be able to sit and think about, well, what do I want my home to look like? Right? What vibes do I want it to give off? Right? I want my kids to always want to come back home. How do I do that? I got to start it now. Right? And so being a stay-at-home mom has given me that opportunity to do so. So that is it for my very first video. If you have questions, always leave them below and I can do a second video if there's something that I did not cover or you want me to cover more about my transition from the classroom to home. And even maybe what that looked like in more detail. But I just wanted to give you just a quick overview of what that looked like for our home and why I made the decision to come home. And I just, again, hope that you have hit that subscribe button so that you can follow along with me on this journey. See you next time.